Hi everybody, welcome to EduTap and also welcome to the government scheme session. Today we are going to understand the scheme Funds for Startup. It's a very short scheme and actually has not much of the data that are there under the scheme, right? But because it is one of the important component and recently the scheme was mentioned in news. This particular scheme, it is of 8th of March आपकी business लाइन में आई थी ठीक है दिस पर्टिकुलर स्कीम सो वी आर गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट व्हाट इज द स्कीम ऑल अबाउट एंड लाइक व्हाई द सिडबी चेयरमैन himself is saying that funds commits 9,500 crore for startup. So what is the scheme all about? We will understand. Right, I can already see people joining. Good morning Shalini, Pramod, good morning, and Nitya, good morning. But before understanding what is the scheme all about, what are funds and how startup is going to get benefit under the scheme, let's also look at the something that we have provided for you all. So if you're preparing for central regulatory bodies and you have doubts regarding the organization, like what is the functioning of RBI, NABARD, SEBI, what's the institution all it looks like, what is the hierarchical structure there, what will be your role once you join the organization, you can get these guidebooks where everything is present along with all about the recruitment process. So what is the eligibility criteria, age wise, education qualification wise, how many phases are there, what are the pattern of each phases, and apart from that the syllabus and everything has been covered in the second section. And at the end we have given some steps that you can follow on your own if you're going for self preparation, and those will definitely help up to boost up your preparation. So do not miss the opportunity. You can download these e-guidebooks which are free of cost, and the link of them it is provided in the description box below. Good morning Shavik, and good morning Ayushi. Alright, now let's talk about the scheme funds for startup. देखो, simply first we'll understand what are funds of funds. ठीक है, तो step by step we will just have an understanding, and we will understand it very in a layman language, because see these videos, these are being seen by the NABARD candidates, by other banking examination candidate, and along with the RBI candidate as well, right? So we have to understand in such a way that simply from whatever examination you're preparing for, you have just basic idea what the scheme is all about, right? So we may not use much of the technical terms of finance, okay, to get the basic understanding. Okay. Now for example, you wanted to go for an investment, you had some money. Abhi whatever we will be understanding from the investor perspective. Dekho, first of all, from startup perspective, I just want to tell you that government, that they are doing a lot to promote startup in India. So for that purpose there are a lot of backup with the terms of finances that has been provided, a lot of subsidies that are provided on the loans, right? A lot of other leverages in the cases of tax exempt etc are being provided, and also lot of platforms are provided to them so that they can showcase their talent, and they might get funding from the people, right? So this is what all we know that government is doing for the startup. Okay, abhi for once keep aside the startup, and from the investor perspective we have to look at to understand the concept of funds of fund. Okay, abhi we will understand at our level, and then we will move ahead and understand in the people who are actually investing in the startup. Okay, so I want to ask I want to start off with us only. Okay, for example, you had some money, okay, so you were earning, or maybe you had some pocket money, you had some money, and now you wanted to invest it, right? One thing you can do, you can directly invest in the stock market, right? That you can do. But for example, you do not have knowledge regarding this, right? So what would you want to do? So you do not know about stock and the things how they work. There are other sort of investment also. They have debt, agar bahut sari cheeze hoti hai, there's a lot of thing, right? But you do not know how to do investment. So what you would want to do, you would want to have a fund manager, okay, to whom you would provide with the money, and they would further invest on your behalf. Okay, this is known as what? This is known as, simply in our language you would say, these are known as mutual funds. In mutual funds, what you do, if you are the investor and you do not know ABC about anything about the investment, you can just directly enroll yourself to the mutual funds. Mutual funds are of different type. Some they directly invest, they further invest in the stock market. So such type of mutual funds are known as equity based mutual fund, because they are investing in the stock market. Some they just invest in debt. Then there are other also. There are 5 major that are categorized in by the SEBI. Okay, but simply you have to understand what you are doing in mutual funds. What you do, you instead of investing on your own directly in these, what you would do, because you do not have an idea, you just, there will be fund managers who would be looking at your mutual funds. ठीक है, यहाँ पे funds manager होते हैं आपके, So you are investing in mutual fund and then they are further investing on your behalf. This is the normal flow goes. ठीक है. But what if whatever the fund you are investing in mutual funds, ठीक है, whatever investment you are doing in mutual funds, instead of directly investing them in the equity, debt, or whatever the etc sorts are there, instead of doing that, what if these mutual funds are further investing in another mutual fund scheme? Okay, so for example, I invested in a mutual fund, and this, instead of directly then investing, it reallocated your money to different mutual fund scheme. ठीक है, तो reallocate कर दिया आपका money. So when this happens, when your funds are, instead of buying off the investment, they are further being invested into other mutual fund scheme. This is known as what? This is known as funds of funds. अब now these further जो आपके mutual funds है, these will be investing in whatever be your, whatever be the investment that needs to be done. ठीक है, so simply this is known as what? Funds of funds, where your funds are not directly being utilized, they are being further invested in mutual fund scheme. ठीक है, so these are known as funds of funds. Simply, you don't have to get confused in this. ठीक है, अब ये जो second, देखो, this was the first step, the first mutual fund that you have invested, right? Now the second step, the second mutual fund, now these are being invested. These are known as what? These are known as your daughter funds. These are known as your daughter funds. ठीक है, these are, देखो, some of the terms why I am explaining, because if you will study on your own any news regarding this, or even in further slides, the thing that we are going to understand, these are some of the things that you should have an idea to understand what is the funds of funds for startup. ठीक है, तो अभी समझ में आ गया डॉटर फंड्स क्या होता है. आई होप नाउ यू हैव एन आइडिया, एंड नाउ यू हैव आइडिया फंड्स ऑफ फंड्स क्या होते हैं. ठीक है, सिंपली है. अब हाउ द स्टार्टअप्स आर गेटिंग बेनिफिटेड अंडर इट. ठीक है, तो अब फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल देखो, फंड्स ऑफ फंड का प्रॉफिट क्या होता है. फंड्स ऑफ फंड का ये प्रॉफिट होता है दैट डाइवर्सिफिकेशन हैपेंस इन अ पोर्टफोलियो. व्हाट इज पोर्टफोलियो? मींस वेयर एवर यू हैव इन्वेस्टेड, दैट इज योर पोर्टफोलियो. ठीक है, नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इफ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन, if you have, like for example, if I was the person and I was having like 3 mutual different funds and they were directly investing, if they were directly investing, right, my much of the money would have been, consumed under it, right? But here these are further been reallocated. So comparatively, if I say, if I have 3 plans, here in this case I am having 3 plans, so for 3 plans I would have to do the 3 different investment, right? But in this case, where the funds of funds are being used, I do not have to do like multiple investment. ठीक है, I have to do like limited number of investment only, as in comparison to the first case that we have seen. ठीक है, अब ये थे म्यूचुअल फंड्स हमारे लेवल में, एट आर लेवल, लाइक नॉर्मल इंडिविजुअल लेवल. बट व्हाट हैपेंस, इवन बिकॉज सेबी नोज दैट दिस कॉमन मैन, द कॉमन पीपल, they are investing under it, right? Because of that, what happens in mutual funds, be it of that, I have told you that there are 5 different sorts, right? But in mutual funds there are a lot of restrictions that have been imposed by SEBI, that to the, not to you, but to these fund managers, because these are actually the one who are managing your funds, right? So a lot of restrictions are there under the mutual funds. ठीक है, that you can't invest beyond this or beyond that. ठीक है, तो a lot of restriction are there, we do not have to go in that, right? But if you look at now at the industrial level, where a lot of or at the company level or at the business level, there you can't follow these restrictions, right? So for them we have another such concept, like one is like mutual funds, we have another way which is known as alternative investment fund. ठीक है, so simply, like if layman language is common language, you have to understand alternative investment funds are like mutual funds only, but here there are less restrictions. ठीक है, अब here because there are less restrictions, so definitely there will be more risk. देखो, higher return, definitely with higher risk higher return is like proportionate, right? But what I mean to convey is that because it is alternative investment fund where less restrictions are there, what does it mean? It means that there are more risk that is there, right? So that is why it's being said that if anybody would wants to invest under alternative investment, they have to have minimum 1 crore of investment. ठीक है, so that only the good players and experienced players and people with knowledge, only they enter this particular funding system. So there is a criteria कि आपकी minimum 1 crore you have to invest. अब देखिए mutual funds, so we have any sort of plan, right? We can have plan of 500 rupees, or it can even start from 500 rupees, right? And here because we have some limitations, so yes, risk is comparatively, like it's subjective to the market, but usually in mutual funds we can get a decent enough profit. ठीक है, But in the case of alternative investment fund, because there are lesser restriction, it means more risk it is there, more profit definitely is there. That is why here it's being said that minimum 1 crore you have to invest. So यहाँ पे here when we are talking about alternative investment funds, these are usually, you know, we are talking about the at the industrial level, or you can say the business level, or the like big player level we are talking about. ठीक है, I hope अभी तक you do not have any confusion. If you have, you can just ask me, I'll be answering those doubt. ठीक है, अभी तक का simply ये है. ठीक है, अब क्या होगा? So we are talking about big players definitely. So here we are talking about the businessman and etc. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे फिर हम म्यूचुअल फंड्स की बात नहीं कर रहे, we are talking about the alternative investment fund. So what does it mean? That under the particular scheme, the scheme that we are today talking about, which is the fund for startup, here we will be talking about the alternative investment fund. So similarly same thing होगा, investors will be there, they will be alternative investment fund में they will be investing, and they would further be buying other alternative investment funds जो कि further then they would be buying up the they would be investing on things. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे स्टार्टअप का क्या रोल है? अब what is the scheme all about? Here government said that under the scheme that startups will be provided with the investment. अब direct investment nobody would want to do, especially in a startup. ठीक है, if I am, for example, if I was an investor, I am a big player in the market and I want to invest on something, right? Definitely I would want would want to invest on something that I am assured that okay, I will get the profit out of it. ठीक है, अब startup के case में it's kind of a gambling. ठीक है, you don't know that maybe they have good innovations. ठीक है, but what if they what if I do not, as an investor, I do not want to take that particular risk. ठीक है, so what will be done under this particular scheme? ठीक है, under the SEBI guidance what will be done? ठीक है, अभी जो मैंने बोला ना कि these AIF alternative investment funds, they would be further investing in other such schemes, and then they would be investing in different things. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आपके startups enlist होंगे. Okay, so what will be done here? The investor is not directly investing in a startup. Like I'm not directly, you know, being a partnered with a startup. What I will do, I will invest in alternative investing funds. ठीक है, तो funds of funds के through these startup will get investment from the investors. So in a way, if you look at it here, the investor would have surety because his investment is diversified in various, you know, देखो यहाँ पे बीच में fund manager है, you have to keep in mind, and please do not get confused. I'm again saying, if you have any query, this is live session, you can ask. देखो बीच में fund manager है, so this investor does not know that where is this funding is being provided, right? He just know that okay, I have a fund manager who is investing in different portfolios. ठीक है, and in different portfolios he is going to give me with a good return. ठीक है, definitely investor is aware that loss might happen, but usually when you have diversified portfolio, there are lesser chances. ठीक है, अब this fund manager what will do, it will further invest in a scheme. ठीक है, again क्योंकि यहाँ पे दोबारा वो AIF में ही जाएगा, right? क्योंकि ये funds of funds है, and then it will be further whatever be the startups that will be enlisted by SEBI only. So not any startup, but only those which are enlisted in SEBI क्या होंगे? अब ये जो AIF होंगे, they will be investing in startups. So startups are getting investment. ठीक है, और आपका जो AIF के थ्रू क्या होगा, स्टार्टअप्स को इन्वेस्टमेंट मिल रही है एंड इन्वेस्टर इज गेटिंग द प्रॉफिट एज वेल. ठीक है, सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर स्कीम, एंड इट्स बीइंग सेड दैट जो आपका FSS है, दैट इज योर ठीक है. सो व्हाट डज इट से? सो दिस पर्टिकुलर स्कीम से, सो दिस इज वन ऑफ द स्निपेट ऑफ द PIB. ठीक है, PIB न्यूज का. सो हेयर इज बिकॉज ऑफ दिस स्कीम व्हाट विल हैपन, दीज स्टार्टअप्स वुड हैव द इन्वेस्टमेंट इवन एट अर्ली स्टेज ऑल्सो, द बडिंग स्टेज, सीड स्टेज ऑल्सो, एंड इनफैक्ट इन द ग्रोथ स्टेज ऑल्सो. ठीक है, एंड इट विल बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज यू नो इट विल रिड्यूस आर डिपेंडेंस ऑन द फॉरेन कैपिटल. ठीक है, एंड इट विल encourage home growth. What does it mean? It means like देखो, if I am a startup, if I'm not getting money in the national market, definitely I'll go to international market to take up the fund because I want to, you know, boost my startup. If I'm taking money from if I'm taking the foreign capital, definitely I would have to pay back to them only, to the foreign country only, to the foreign people only, right? So what will happen? Definitely the startup will boost. ठीक है, but much of the money will be then sent back to the foreign, sent to the foreign, right? So wouldn't it be better that whatever be the investment that is happening, profit that is happening, that's, you know, that's just the home growth only, right? So such alternative investment funds, or you can say the fund of fund pattern, this is going to help up with the home growth. ठीक है, because here the startups will get investment, they would get investment because they are SEBI, they are selected by SEBI. ठीक है, so definitely they would get investment under the funds of funds. ठीक है, and they would not have to go to the foreign market to borrow money. ठीक है, so it's win win situation for all. अब एक और एक लाइन है वेंचर कैपिटल का. ठीक है, वेंचर कैपिटल का सेम वही मीनिंग है जैसे आपका ये AIF था ना, AIF was investing in further AIF. ठीक है, अब दे कैन इन्वेस्ट इन अगेन ऑन डिफरेंट सॉर्ट्स, सो दे कैन इन्वेस्ट वाया वेंचर कैपिटल ऑल्सो. ठीक है, अब वेंचर कैपिटल क्या होता है, यूजली जो स्टार्टअप्स होते हैं ना, नो प्लेयर वुड वांट टू इन्वेस्ट इन अ स्टार्टअप. ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ अगेन द रिस्क दैट व्हाट इफ इट डज नॉट वर्क. ठीक है, तो वेंचर कैपिटल आर सच फंड्स. ठीक है, वेंचर कैपिटल फंड्स आर सच फंड्स विच आर एक्चुअली इन्वेस्टेड इन द स्टार्टअप्स लुकिंग एट व्हाट प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी दे कैन गेट. ठीक है, सो डेफिनेटली अगेन यहाँ पे सेबी प्लेज अ मेजर रोल. ठीक है, आइडेंटिफाइंग startups, and then the investment that is done in such startup is known as the venture capital fund. ठीक है, all in all what is the idea of funds of funds? I hope you have now the clarity. अब बस basic रह गया. ठीक है, let's understand the scheme. January 2016 में this particular scheme was launched and the scheme falls under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. ठीक है, whatever be the monitoring that will be done of the overall scheme. ठीक है, that whatever be the startups that are included and how the schemes are going to go under the scheme, that will be done by the Department of Promotion of Industry and internal trade. ठीक है, but if we talk about the operating agency of the fund, this funding मतलब कैसे जाएगा. ठीक है, और वट एवर बी द फंडिंग हाउ दैट विल बी डन, सो दैट विल बी डन बाय योर सिडबी. ठीक है, आपके सिडबी के थ्रू जो भी फंडिंग्स वगैरह होगी सिडबी के थ्रू होगी. ओवरऑल मॉनिटरिंग ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर स्कीम विल बी डन बाय द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एंड इंटरनल ट्रेड. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे क्या होगा, यहाँ पे आपका जो इन्वेस्टमेंट है इन दीज फंड्स. ठीक है, व्हेन वी आर सेइंग दैट इन्वेस्टमेंट इन दीज स्टार्टअप्स विल बी डन, सो फॉर दैट डेफिनेटली सम अमाउंट इज रिक्वायर्ड, राइट. तो कितना अमाउंट आपका रिक्वायर्ड होगा, अभी गवर्नमेंट कह रही है कि अराउंड 10,000 करोड़ वी विल इन्वेस्ट. नाउ इफ यू रिमेंबर द न्यूज, कितना न्यूज में क्या था, 9,500 करोड़ तक का इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी तक देख लिया है. ठीक है, एंड ऑफ वट एवर बी द फंडिंग दैट विल बी डन अंडर द स्कीम, ऑफ दैट 10% फंड्स विल बी रिजर्व्ड फॉर द विमेन लेड स्टार्टअप. आपके जो विमेन लेड स्टार्टअप होंगे उनके लिए होंगे. ठीक है, देखो वट एवर वी नीडेड टू अंडरस्टैंड वी हैव ऑलरेडी कवर्ड. नाउ इट जस्ट वी आर जस्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट इट, how the startups are going to get benefit under the scheme, because we know that there is Startup India action plan that is going on, right, and we know a lot of things being done for the startup, and now so that these startup can get the investment, this particular scheme has come into action, where what happened, where no government is not directly investing under the startup. Government कोई ऐसे direct investment नहीं कर रही है. ठीक है, instead what it is doing, it is providing capital. ठीक है, जो भी आपके डॉटर फंड्स है, मीन्स थ्रू द डॉटर फंड्स इट इज प्रोवाइडिंग विद द इन्वेस्टमेंट. ठीक है, इंस्टेड प्रोवाइड्स कैपिटल टू सेबी रजिस्टर्ड ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड. ठीक है, जो आपके सेबी में रजिस्टर्ड आपके जो ये स्टार्टअप्स होंगे हु वुड फॉल अंडर दीज ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड, दोज विल गेट द बेनिफिट, एंड ऑल्सो नोन एज डॉटर फंड. आई होप यू हैव अंडरस्टूड व्हाट आर द डॉटर फंड्स अंडर द फंड्स ऑफ फंड्स. ठीक है, एंड डॉटर फंड्स इन्वेस्ट मनी इन ग्रोइंग इंडियन स्टार्टअप. ठीक है, तो क्या समझाया था मैंने आपको, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल दिस वाज द इन्वेस्टर. ठीक है, एंड ही इज इन्वेस्टिंग इन AIF विच विल फर्दर, बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फंड्स ऑफ फंड्स, सो ही वुड बी इन्वेस्टिंग इन द डॉटर फंड्स, है ना. अब ये दीज डॉटर फंड्स देन फर्दर वुड इन्वेस्ट इन टू स्टार्टअप्स. ठीक है, सो दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन रिटन, डॉटर फंड्स इन्वेस्ट मनी इन ग्रोइंग इंडियन स्टार्टअप थ्रू इक्विटी और इक्विटी लिंक्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंट. इक्विटी मतलब स्टॉक मार्केट, तो मीन्स थ्रू स्टॉक मीन्स सम पार्ट ऑफ देन ऑफ द इक्विटी या स्टॉक will be taken up by the investor. ठीक है, simply, and whatever be the AIF, जो भी alternative investment funds होंगे वो SEBI के through monitor होंगे. the fund manager, like whatever be they are doing the distribution, everything will be checked by, monitored by SEBI. ठीक है, और कोई ऐसे minimum investment limit नहीं रखी है. ठीक है, this is one thing. अब when we are saying that startups will get funded under this, not all the startup, because देखो SEBI has to keep in mind that even the the SEBI has to keep in mind what thing, that the investor, no matter how whatever rich or whatever he is not, right, he should not bear a loss, right? So what will happen, the startups which have the potential, those will be onboarded under this fund cycle, means where the daughter funds will actually be investing in these funds, ठीक है, जो daughter funds है. So for that to onboarding there is a like process that goes. First of all like screening registration होगा, then a questionnaire होगा, if there is a feedback होगा तो feedback will be given, ठीक है. Or if you know the government felt like, currently like SEBI felt like that you know these should not come on board, it would be told, ठीक है. If it's a go situation, if it's a like thumbs up, then first meeting will be done, then detailed application. ये आपको, you don't have to remember these things, just like telling you that how the process feels like, you know, multiple meetings will be done, multiple feedbacks will be given, and ultimately these startups will be onboarded and they will get the investment, ठीक है. And there are, you know, some key eligibility criteria also for the like applying for the contribution, ठीक है. First of all we said that देखो alternative investment fund के through जाएंगे, ठीक है. So whatever be the funds that will be registered for the startup under this, ठीक है, तो वो किसके लिए थ्रू होंगे, कैटेगरी 1 और कैटेगरी 2 के थ्रू रजिस्टर होंगे. देखो these are some of the like you know points that might be asked in examination. So you just be, you know, you should somewhere, it should click in your mind that these alternative funds we are talking about इसका कैटेगरी 1 और 2 में आता है. सिंपली लाइक दीज आर फ्यू वर्ड्स लाइक यू जस्ट कीप इन माइंड, कैटेगरी 1 और 2 में आना चाहिए, ठीक है. फंड्स वट एवर इन्वेस्टमेंट विल भी होगा, कि जो स्टार्टअप्स में इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा, इट्स बिंग सेट कि वो ना कि गवर्नमेंट जो होगी वो एटलीस्ट ट्वाइस करना चाहिए, ठीक है. फंड्स टू एग्री टू इन्वेस्ट एटलीस्ट ट्वाइस द अमाउंट. क्या बोल रही है गवर्नमेंट की, फॉर सच स्टार्टअप. देखो डॉटर फंड्स, देखो फंड मैनेजर इज टेकिंग केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग, ठीक है. गवर्नमेंट इज ऑन वन हैंड promising the startups that we are going to provide you with the investment, you just come up with the new ideas, ठीक है. So for startup also there should be a benefit, right? So government is saying that under this funds of funds that usually goes, ठीक है, and there are daughter funds that usually happens, ठीक है. But just the government is saying that, for example, the government is, you can say, directing to the fund managers that while investing in such startups to whom we have promised, you can just invest double the amount that you would have usually done in other cases. Simply you can understand this, ठीक है. तो क्या बोल रहे कि एटलीस्ट ट्वाइस द अमाउंट कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन सॉर्ट करती है, ठीक है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल द कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन अगर वो 100 करोड़ का देख रही है तो 200 करोड़ का स्टार्टअप में इन्वेस्टमेंट होना चाहिए. प्लीज कीप इन माइंड व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड, वी हैव स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम 1 crore baseline only. So you can understand in the alternative investment fund this much of huge investment is only done. We are not talking about mutual fund cases, ठीक है. तो ये कुछ चीजें ठीक है पॉइंट्स है. और कैटेगरी 1 और 2 याद रखना, AIF की कैटेगरी 1 2 के अंदर ये फॉल करते हैं, ठीक है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट टॉइज द कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन मांगा, मतलब आपको एक्सपेक्ट करती गवर्नमेंट, डायरेक्ट करती कि दिया जाए, ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे न्यूज़ क्या है, फंड्स ऑफ फंड्स कमिट्स 9,500 crore फॉर स्टार्टअप, सेज SEBI चेयरमैन. नाउ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड लाइक व्हाट इज द लाइक यू नो एम ऑफ जो आपका इसके अंदर एम वगैरह क्या था, ठीक है. एंड दिस हैज लेड ओवर टू 100 AIFs ऑल्टरनेटिव इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड. आई होप नाउ यू नो, ठीक है, कितना है. और इसने कितने रेज कर लिए, 56,000 करोड़ रेज कर दिए. रेज किससे करे होंगे, इन्वेस्टर से किए होंगे, ठीक है. सो दैट वाज ऑल अबाउट इट. सो दिस इज अ होमवर्क फॉर यू ऑल, ट्राई टू डू दैट. एंड दीज आर द टॉपर्स ऑफ द लास्ट सेशन. फिटनेस एट द राइट आंसर, ई वॉज द करेक्ट आंसर, पीयूष एट द राइट आंसर, रिया सेट द राइट आंसर, डार्क नाइट सेट द राइट आंसर, GDP सेट द राइट आंसर, यमी सेट द राइट आंसर, सुरेंद्र, जूही, we have Param saying the right answer, Satish, Shivam, Vijay, and then we have Richa saying the right answer. Then we had Denti, then we have Rudransh saying the right answer. Sachin, Rahul said the right answer, Abhishek said the right answer. Akash, yes, after every month we come up with a revision session. So for this particular month, for the month of like last month, for March, we will have the revision session on this Friday, ठीक है. So that you would have time to revise. That is why I am not conducting. देखो classes are on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if I will tell you that day after tomorrow it will be the revision session, maybe most people will not be able to do that, ठीक है. So on Friday we are going to have the revision session, ठीक है. And PM Usha, okay user, I will see that if this particular scheme it is in news, and I will definitely cover. And Shubham said the right answer, ठीक है. So on Friday this week you are going to have the revision session, ठीक है. And for more such videos you can join join our YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and for getting the PDF of this particular video, this lecture, you can join our Telegram channel. Okay? So thank you everybody for watching. I hope your questions, you don't have much questions regarding this. I'll take the doubts that are here. Santosh ma'am, if a new startup is registered in SEBI, can it be able to avail this scheme? Yes, Santosh, means if they are being approved, as I showed you in one of the slide, right, that how these will be onboarded with multiple meetings and feedbacks and everything. So if the particular startup, it's a like, even if it's a new startup, okay, because what we have understood, if you remember from the start only, we understood that even at the seed stage also they can get the funding. Okay, so definitely they would get the benefit under the scheme. Pratul says investment growth will depend on startup performance. Investment growth, as in they have not mentioned, SEBI have not mentioned as such specifically that depending on the startups growth it would depend. But yes, if they whatever we, if they these startups are fulfilling the criteria which SEBI has made to make them on board, right, then they would definitely get the investment, right. Maybe as we have seen, you know, that SIDBI and SEBI, they would keep on, you know, looking about the scheme. We have monitoring agency also, right. So maybe the monitoring agency would check up on the startup how they are performing, right. As such in guidelines, not such things have been mentioned, but yes, this is a genuine question. So it might happen, you know, the monitoring agency we have, if we have a monitoring agency, they would look up at the performance of the startup, are they getting benefit or not, and if they are in constant loss, maybe then the government, then SEBI would, you know, just remove it out from that particular list that they have made. Okay, so it can be the case. Will be of whole March month videos. Yes, Nitya, the lectures we have covered in March, of all those, we have a revision session on Friday. Okay, so yeah. So thank you everybody for watching, and we'll come up again Wednesday. We'll come up with a new scheme, and until then, all the very best for your examination, and thank you.